Hi there, I'm Jim Brown, and I write a regular column right here at BayouBuzz.com. This week I took a look at the city of New Orleans, the terrible violence that continues down there. The 10 people who were shot on Bourbon Street, one lady died. The majority of those there who were involved in the shooting were tourists from outside the city of New Orleans, most outside the state of New Orleans, rather the state of Louisiana. And so my article is entitled "The Searing of a Great City's Soul." It seems like the violence continues. For years, New Orleans has been the per capita leader in terms of killings in this country, and it seems to continue no matter what we do. You've got so much dysfunction down there in terms of the violence that takes place. And, you know, it's just not shootings. It's not one-on-one shootings. When you take a gun and start shooting into crowds, that's terrorism is what that is. How do you get a handle on that kind of thing? That's the focus of my column, and I sure hope you'll read it. And one thing I advocated is calling out the Louisiana National Guard. I was a guardsman for 12 years. Every summer, you got to go to a 2-week camp. There are thousands of guardsmen who are available to do their 2 weeks training in New Orleans. They can bivouac, they can train, they can tour the city. I think it's an excellent time to call out the National Guard. You ought to put 500, 600, 700 guardsmen throughout the prime areas of the city where tourists come in. Now, some folks say, oh, you can't do that. If you do that, it's going to scare people. Look, after Katrina, the National Guard was down there throughout the French Quarter and throughout a good part of the city. I was doing a regular radio show, WRNO, down there. It was a daily show, so I spent a number of nights down there. I'd jog the levee. I'd go into local restaurants and often see National Guard troops in the restaurants, in their Humvees, traveling throughout the city. I had a great sense of relief. I felt much safer. I don't think it's a turnoff at all. I think it would make tourists say, hey, we feel okay down here. So Governor Jindal ought to do that, particularly when it doesn't cost anything. You've got these guard troops who've got to go on active duty anyway, and they do a variety of training. What a better place to train for urban riots than right in the city of New Orleans. So I hope you'll read the column and see what you think, because the debate goes on. The crimes statistics hopefully will drop, but they're not going to drop right away. We got to keep talking about it. That's what I try to do in this week's column. If you want to see lots of what I write, you can come to my website, which is JimBrownUSA.com, and be sure and check with BayouBuzz.com every week to get my weekly columns. Take care.